All right, thanks for coming to 1500ESPN.com. Judd, Zulgad, Jess Myers, Xcel Energy Center, where we have just witnessed on this Monday night the Wild thoroughly dominate the St. Louis Blues 3-0. This was Game 3 of their first-round series. The Wild now takes a 2-1 lead. And Jess, after Game 1, the narrative from St. Louis was, we didn't play very well. In Game 2, they came out and played better, and they won. I will say this, though, now, over 6 periods of hockey, after what we saw tonight, I'm no longer willing to buy that the Blues are a very talented and tough team. They are a very tough team, but their antics as far as trying to draw the Wild into being cheap and to try and, after the whistle, hit the Wild and get and upset the Wild, it's not working, and the Wild is a far more skilled hockey team than the Blues.
The Wild are a better coach team right now, too. I mean, just the fact that they're not buying into the shenanigans, the after-the-whistle stuff, the little jabs early in the game to try and get static started. The Wild kept their cool. That's what impressed me the most. I wrote last game about how you needed a better 20-minute effort, and granted, they come out of that first period at 0-0. They had the only power play of the opening 20 minutes. They get another power play right away in the second, do nothing with it, and we've got to expect that from the Wild because they've done it all year. They've missed opportunities on the power play, but they didn't buy into it, and they kept playing their game. That's what I wrote about tonight, is that, you know, Herb Brooks would be proud. Play your game. Play your game. That's what they did.
That's this whole series now, though. It appears that, especially games 1 and 3, the Wild is very content to let the Blues play their game, too. They're not trying to get the Blues to buy into what they're going to do. It's as if the Wild has its own ball and basically is saying, we're over here in this corner. We're going to play this fast speed game. You could do whatever you want. Steve Ott, you could do whatever you want.
And he did.
David Backes, you could hit us, you could do, and we are going to turn around and we're going to laugh at you and we're going to go back to playing our game. We have two very different styles being played here, and what's interesting about it is it's clear the Wild style is superior, and the Blues, I don't think have, and Ken Hitchcock have no clue what to do now. Tonight they looked completely lost to me. This did not look like a veteran team. This looked like the choking St. Louis Blues that we've seen so many times in the first round. And I'm not so sure that this series might not be done on Friday, because the Blues looked at one point tonight like they have no interest. And by the way, that includes Vladimir Tarasenko, who, congratulations, you are Randy Moss. You show up when you want to. You had no shots in Game 1. You had a hat trick in Game 2. And tonight you were a -3 with no shots on goal. And if I had paid to see your butt, I'd be ticked off.
Let's think about who the standouts have been, who the noticeable players have been for St. Louis in this series. Tarasenko, for one period of one game, he was fantastic. He was unstoppable. Backes has been out there hitting. Ott has been out there hitting and getting kicked out of games. Tonight, you got a little bit of Bouwmeester. You got a little bit of Barrett Jackman. Have you seen TJ Oshie?
No points.
Have you seen Paul Stastny?
No points.
Have you seen Berglund? I mean, all these guys that we expected a lot from, you know, this scary good offense that we were so worried about, just haven't shown up. I mean, I joked about this on Twitter. I was absolutely not kidding. Right at the end of the second period, Stastny had a little play along the boards. I looked, number 26, who's that? I honestly had forgotten Paul Stastny was on this team. Now, he showed up last year in the playoffs for Colorado. He was a fearsome player that the Wild had to deal with. Yeah. This year, nothing out of him. You know, I like TJ Oshie. He's a friend of mine, but he hasn't shown up in this series. You know, I can't even remember.
Backes hasn't done much.
Yeah. So, I mean,
it's across the board.
If you're a St. Louis fan, this has got to be really frustrating because they are a great regular season team, home and road. This is 9 consecutive playoff losses for the Blues. Think about that. I mean, that's hard to do, you know, to make the playoffs every year and not be able to win a road playoff
This was
game.
the third best team in the regular season on the road. And once again, something else that we found out tonight is there was all this foreboding and concern, and I think sort of rightfully so, about the Wild in the regular season at home. I think they had the 19th best home record in the regular season in the league, and they were 4-5-1 in their last 10. And we were all thinking, okay, Wild comes back home. They're a very good road team. They split on the road. How are they going to do now at home? They had zero problem. The first period actually was pretty slow. The first period to me looked like Game 1 of a first game. There was this feeling out between the two teams, but the Wild came out in the second period, and you're exactly right. This is across the board. This is the Wild team, starting with how they're coached, out-coaching St. Louis completely. And you could tell the Wild knew exactly what was coming from the Blues, and they talked before Game 1 about ignore everybody. And Jess, if I'm Ken Hitchcock, I don't play Steve Ott. on Wednesday in Game 4. He is useless. He's embarrassed. I've never seen. We've both been to hundreds of professional hockey games. You tell me, when is the last time you saw a player get a breakaway, lose the puck off his stick, and an entire 19,000 people erupt in laughter? It was pathetic.
Yeah, that was a key moment. And the other key moment on the first goal, Granlund comes down the wing. Tarasenko's there, speediest guy on the team. Granlund goes around Tarasenko like the guy was an orange pylon. And Granlund didn't score the goal, but he made the play that set up the goal, got the crowd going, turned out to be the only goal they need. Hey, we're 5 minutes into this thing. We didn't mention the goalie who got a shutout tonight.
Hey, I wrote the same thing. 5 points, my 5th point. Oh, yeah, Dubnyk,
and
17
by the way,
saves. But that's because it was an entire team effort. And I will give the Wild this, too. In games 1 and 3 that they have won, Dubnyk has only been asked to basically just make the saves he needs to make.
Right.
I don't think Devin Dubnyk in game 1 or 3 made any one save that you said, oh my gosh, he made that save, which you saw in the regular season all the time from him. But he is making the saves he has to make, and that's it. Real quick, the Granlund line tonight, Granlund, Pominville, Parisi. Now, Parisi's been fantastic.
Yes.
But I said after game 1 and 2, Granlund and Pominville have to give you more. Granlund, we know, is a elite player when he wants to be. I thought tonight they gave you exactly what they need to give you, which is outstanding play.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to have, your main guys have to be your main guys. And Zach Parise is doing that once again. He did it in the playoffs last year. He's taken the team on his shoulders, I think, once again, put all the stuff he had to deal with in the regular season behind him.
Sure.
He is doing exactly what they envisioned on July 4th, 2012, when they wrote that really big check. I mean, this is when he's living his dream right now.
After what you saw tonight, quickly here, if you're Ken Hitchcock and you're the Blues, what do you do? Because to me, you almost have to go back to the drawing board. If your strategy was, we're going to frustrate the Wild, we're going to muck it up, it's not going to work.
It's crazy that they've gone with that theory in the first place because they've got a more talented offensive team than the Wild. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Those guys that we mentioned that we haven't seen anything from, start moving the puck. Start, pushing the play forward.
They shuffled the lines, by the way, in the third period. That didn't work.
But it didn't work then when you're already down 2-0 on the road. And the old adage that the third goal usually wins the game happened again tonight. It happened to be an empty netter. But, you've got to go back to what got you there. You've tried to play the gritty playoff hockey. It's not working for you. The game you won came because you used your skill. You jumped on a team early. You moved the puck. You let them play catch up to you. That's what St. Louis has to do. We'll have to see if they can do it.
He's Jess Myers. I'm Judd Zulgad. Thanks for coming to 1500ESPN.com and check us out for complete coverage of this Wild Blues series, which I think might be over very soon at the rate the St. Louis Blues are going. And they will have a coaching change, and all hell will break loose in St. Louis, and we don't care. We're done.